Welcome back, guys. Local Bulls fan here. It's been a while. I wanted to record once the season ended, but then when the season ended, came allergy season, and this is like the best quality of life I've been to actually record and speak to you all without boogers running down my nose, looking like I'm about to cry, just a bunch of stuff. Glad to be back. Not glad about how the season ended. I'm glad you all are here. We could talk about it, look at it, give a rundown of general things that I've seen pop up around the season. Just my thoughts on the whole thing. Just I have some notes here, but I'm just gonna we're gonna see where it goes because there's a lot. There's a lot. First, I'll just break down. We lost the Miami Heat in the playing game. It's pretty sad. We had the lead for a little bit. It was very sad. Billy Donovan took out Coby White, put in Patrick Beverly. Don't know why. I know he gave an explanation. I know people brought down his thought process, but I don't care about it because it just wasn't a good move. It just didn't make sense. Coby White, he's been solid defensively. He's over here, the one man, to being a bucket the whole game. I don't see the point. It's a win or go home situation. You don't pull him out. That's the end of your season right there, and you're trying to make the playoffs. You don't do it for a guy that's out there tackling people and it's 0-3 from the three-point line. It's stupid. The reasoning behind it isn't good enough for me. That's just the way I see it. But no, it sucked. But, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I don't have to watch 90s basketball. Them not really doing anything too crazy. Just really wasn't it. Then the press conferences were pretty generic, bland answers, if you will. Oh, we're, looking at things, just different, just media talk, nothing crazy, nothing important, worth noting. I didn't even watch it. I, read everyone's tweets about it, every, site. I know I should have probably watched it, but I know what the answers we were going to get. I knew there's nothing to say if he's not saying anything like Masai from Toronto, who's saying, yeah, I didn't like watching this team this season. You're just being a robot. The hell's the point? I know I should have for this video, but, yeah, it is what it is. But I watched the other one, the All Access Bulls one. That one just pissed me off. I got through, maybe I missed the end. We talked about league attendance, everything. It just pissed me off. I just got mad. Why? We're acting like we just, lost in the conference finals. But, we lost pretty damn bad. The season sucked. But no one's being upset. No, that's what really pisses me off. When I see somebody, get cursed out or something. Just out of anything. Any sign of, showing they are upset. I think they are, probably, but that's just me. So, as you guys saw from the thumbnail, something I want to address is who do we have to keep, Coby or Io? As we've seen through the season, as Coby ascended, Io descended. I've always been an Io guy. I hated Coby since draft night. But Coby's been doing his thing, He's been, proving the doubters wrong, including myself. And I'm very, very happy about that. I'm never the type of guy to be like, oh, why is he playing good? I want him to be bad so he'll be out this team, blah, blah, blah. That's so stupid. He's playing good, and I'm happy about it. And I could say I owe him the apology. He's looked great. Io, on the other hand, I'm not going to switch to being an Io hater. That's stupid. I hate when I see fans flip-flop like that on certain players. It's idiotic. But Io was just I think he was gassed for a little bit. Also, Billy has that point guard position very fucking weird. But I'll get into that later. Because most of the time in the season, it's bring the ball up, give it up to DeMar, give it up to Zach. Stand at 3-point line, go guard Jaylen Brown, Tatum. Next night you're guarding Trae Young. Next night you're going to have to guard Luka, so on and so forth. You're going to get tired by that, plain and simple. It's not a rhythm game. I talk about Vooch and being out of rhythm for Billy Donovan's offense for his 3-point shooting. Should be the same thing. But no, Coby really took advantage of every opportunity since coming off the bench. He didn't feel the need to have to give it up like that right away. He was over there showing, still inconsistent in his shooting, but everything else is great, which looked phenomenal. I know his stats don't show it, but Same thing for advanced stats. Same thing for regular stats. Stats doesn't matter. He's looking great. The eye test tells all. But I always found this argument dumb, just because we shouldn't switch up on our players like that. It's kind of stupid. We want to see both of them do good. Why would you just immediately write off one? As well as, like, I get the sense of the argument of we can't develop guys and try to win. We have like 4 or 5 players trying to develop and trying to win. It's a recipe for disaster, as we've seen. However, the reason why it just annoyed me the most, this was like the talking point for like last season, a little bit of this 2 months this season. It's because, like, are we really gonna crutch our winning, depend our winning on, young guys, guys are younger than, I was like the same age, they're all the same age as me, to win when we have Zach, DeMar, Vooch needing to step the hell up. We've blown games before. We've blown like over 5 games this season. I'm not even gonna blame that so much on Billy as much as I do the stars. Like Zach, DeMar, Vooch, you're the ones making the money. Why the hell am I like, oh, I was playing bad like this? You know how, have you seen Coby, LeBron's like teammates? Some of them aren't the best. We're not looking at Rick Fox and be like, damn, they wouldn't have done it without Rick Fox. Not dissing Rick Fox and not saying he was a bad player, but nobody's looking at those teams and being like, without Derek Fisher, without no one's looking at freaking Paxson and the Bulls. I could go on and on. The point I'm making is, like, the Stars didn't step the hell up. They didn't. We saw who they aren't. They aren't on the top 10 level. They aren't any of that by any means. And again, don't get me wrong, the role players do have blame for this. They need their young guys contract year. Come on, we got to see more. But I'm definitely not gonna put looking at them like, oh my gosh, they're the problem. Easily, Vooch, you're averaging damn near 3 threes a game in Orlando. Where the hell has that been? I get it's on Billy, but at the same time, I'm like, you have a season to prepare for this. You had an off season. Zach, same thing. Bill, like, blame's definitely on Billy too. If you see Io's definitely going down, put Coby in. Try something new. He was very much set in his way of the starting lineup. I get it's just starting, but at the same time, it's just like, knowing when to switch guys on and off. He made an adjustment here, and oh my gosh, you're a competent coach. You do something competent. Let's clap and applaud it. The bar should be set higher than that. It's the damn Chicago Bulls. But it was just, overall, that argument is very dumb to me. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, we need to keep both. We were able to trade Derrick Rose, another hometown kid, so I don't expect, I would get special treatment. I do, in the sense of, this is his only second year. Rookie contracts are normally like 4. Let him play out other 2 years. Let him see. I don't think you're going to have to pay him all that much. Same thing with Coby. I like Coby. He improved. But the main thing we needed from him is still streaky. And I don't think the team's going to overpay for that. I don't see it. Not saying the Bulls aren't going to pay him. Not saying, I'm talking about the other teams where you're going to outbid the Bulls. I don't see that happening. It's such a guard-driven league. Most of the tanking teams, most of the teams that have cap space are looking in the draft, which has tons of guards, which they'd probably pick through before looking at Coby. Just my opinion. But overall, this brings me to my thoughts on the point guard position. I keep hearing traditional point guard, and I just want to shoot myself every time I hear this. I get very annoyed. I didn't mean to be that dramatic, but it's just, are we not in 2023 traditional? No, if you want a traditional point guard, let's go trade for Ricky Rubio. That is a traditional point guard. Let's go have TJ McConnell save the day. Look at OKC. Josh Giddey is their shooting guard, and he's the better playmaker over SGA. None of them are traditional. I promise you, if you put Josh Giddey here at the power forward position, have Coby start, it's going to look so much better. not hating on Patrick or anything, but like some playmakers aren't the same as they used to be back then. Luka isn't a traditional point guard. They ain't like you don't. That's not that term doesn't exist. It's so outdated and stupid. I just wanted to address that. So it annoyed me the most. I'm stuttering and everything. Like you can't. If you want traditional, you're gonna look more like a damn '90s team more than anything. Plain and simple. You want an elite level playmaker. That's something else. Because then, what Lonzo Ball was off ball a lot, if I'm not mistaken. Lonzo Ball was definitely catching and shooting. One of his more weaknesses was half court creation. That's not traditional, but we still saw success from it. Like, get real. Look at the way the NBA is being played. Look at other teams. No one has a damn traditional point guard starting, except looking like Steve Nash, John Stockton. No one that they don't exist anymore. That's not the way the league is being played. But why going to back to my original point with DeMar and Vooch, not my original, but like why isn't the focus being on which one is staying and which one is going? Because there's no point in moving on from Zach. He doesn't have this enormous max contract. Just because it's called max does not mean it's the max. Like, I think he rates like 20th in league contracts, and it's only going to get lower and lower from there as more guys get paid. Zach isn't this. It's called the max contract, but it's not this super. It's not the super max, and it's most definitely not freaking determining how good, how it should affect on court. Tobias Harris gets paid the same amount. Just to put things in perspective. But overall, Zach's game is the most modern out of all of them. You put him on damn near any team, they're gonna improve. Just because it's off ball, the way to slash, cut, things like that. His scoring ability is amazing. But Vooch and DeMar very much have more old school games. I'm gonna say that for Vooch because he hasn't been shooting threes as good as the guy we traded for. But those are the main culprits I look at when it's like, all right, it's time to move on. Because there's pros and cons too. Obviously, I'm not that big of a Vooch fan. I prefer a center that's more defensive oriented more than anything. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like DeMar's a stopper or DeMar's freaking KD or something. No, he's more of a defensive liability at times than anything. Vooch is obviously better at defense than DeMar, plain and simple. He just looks worse because teams typically have their defense centered around their center. That's all. That's all it is. But he's not a terrible defender. I'm not that big of a fan, but I'm gonna try to put my bias aside because it's not right. And as well as I want to give them both the equal playing field. Like DeMar can't really shoot threes, and that hurts more at the small forward position than it definitely does the center. However, DeMar does what he does at an elite level with the best of the best, and I feel like it's easier to cover up that center. And while for Vooch, he's not the worst center. He's not a rim protector, but he's definitely not. He could score at will, rebound the ball great. He needs to still find his rhythm with his three-point shot, because that's more likely to come back than DeMar developing a three-point shot. Plain and simple. Some teams, like the Kings, don't really have that interior defense, still finding a way to win. Same with the Nuggets. He's younger. Not by much, but he's younger. But so on and so forth. Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but they do need to pick one, because they all essentially, Zach, DeMar, and Vooch contribute the same thing, which is scoring. Look at other teams' best players; they're not going to be all scoring. One of them's going to be the playmaker. One of them's going to be defense, so on and so forth. So that's something to very much look at, and they need to decide who to pick. Obviously, it depends what there is to offer through a sign-in trade with Vooch or just a straight-up trade for DeMar. It's whatever's like the best deal in my opinion. I like DeMar better, but I'm not afraid to say you gotta go. I'm definitely not like holding that attachment. Vooch stays, great. I'm not gonna be upset, things like that. But there definitely needs to be an address to that point guard position, that playmaking frontier, because Billy Donovan uses it as a crutch. Look at his team with Russell Westbrook, CP3. He used them as a crutch for his offense. Believe it or not, that's what he does. That's how Billy's offense is ran. And he got the secret extension, so you got to work with what you got. And if he needs that, I'd much rather them just go in, get him a playmaking guy, get him someone that distributes the ball, things like a high-level, elite IQ playmaker, but they don't grow on trees. I want to see him get that, so then we can see winning basketball. As much as Billy Donovan annoys the hell out of me, he's here to stay. He's making all the mid three. They all look like better defenders with him. I'll give him that. But yeah, AK needs to be able to do that, because Coby and Io are definitely score first type of guys. Like Io, when he was at Illinois, he had Corbello. Mind you, Corbello's no elite NBA level playmaker by any means. He's definitely not even an NBA level talent. No offense to anyone who's a fan of him. No offense to him if he ever watches this. But I just don't see elite level NBA talent. However, someone else to distribute the ball definitely helps both their games out. So I feel like that's what they need to do. Just look for that. Give him what he needs to be able to succeed. Because we got to understand something. Billy Donovan's not developing any of our young talent by any means. He crutches on his vets a lot, which is definitely hurting the growth of any players like Patrick Williams. He lets his stars go out there, do whatever, which isn't bad. But, like, there's a Bulls channel, some use a lot of Bulls references. The Last Dance, when MJ's like, oh, I didn't like Phil Jackson at first. He took the ball out of my hands. Was he not winning with Phil now? Did that not help excel his game? All to say that, like, I already know Billy's only going to get us so far, but I just would want to see him get as far as he can, so then they realize it's time to kick him to the curb. But something I've noticed in a lack of three-point shooting is something big in this Bulls team. So I went back, because they're blaming, these role players, blah, blah, blah. I've never heard anyone blaming role players being the reason why we blew leads, just had a disgusting offense this season. Like, them being top problem number one is the funniest shit I've ever heard. So I went back and looked at all the teams Billy has coached and wrote down their three-point attempts. He was 17th in OKC. None of his teams, since OKC and the Bulls, have ever shot over 35 threes a game. Well, the league evolved. It didn't seem, even when he was in OKC, it seemed like his offense was still staying the way it did. His last year there, he was ranked 27th in three-point attempts. Mind you, he had some decent shooters. He had Gallinari on his team. CP3 could shoot the ball well, Schroeder, so on and so forth. But even when he came here, just 34 attempts. Mind you, that's not an excuse to not get three-point shooters, but it's just like, again, this shit needs to fall on Billy Donovan. He's not, he needs to be held accountable. Is he letting guys create shots? Is he letting, the offense for a heavy three-point attempts? Is that what his schemes are? Because sometimes it doesn't even seem that way. Even with Lonzo, you still weren't. It did, and Lonzo and Zach combined for like 14 attempts a game. That makes up a good chunk. And the rest of the team should be doing the same. Man, oh man, this is something. But yeah, that's where AK needs to make up for his coaching woes to be able to actually improve this roster as much as possible. And he needs to tell Coby White, Patrick Roll, everybody to not hesitate and shoot the damn ball. They're the best shooters there. But overall, we see that we need change. It's important. I don't want to downplay the point guard position, acting like you don't need the elite level playmaking, or that's not an important aspect of the role. Because if you look at Milwaukee, once they got rid of Eric Bledsoe, he's in the Shanghai Sharks now. When they brought in Drew Holiday, it changes everything. And I feel like that's something they need to address. As long as Billy Donovan is your head coach, you can't have a big three without one of the members being a playmaking point guard. They need to be able to address that. I hope they re-sign, I want there to be change. But I do like some of our players re-signing. I want there to be, development with our young guys. Drafting better if we do get that Portland pick. Things like that. I need to see growth from Zach. He's finally not injured. He was playing great. I don't see Zach becoming a top 10 player as some people want, or even top 15 probably. But some people are disappointed with the way he plays sometimes, and I'm okay with Zach being Zach. But I just want to be able to give him the best team possible on this team. I'm a big fan of rebuilds, of rebuilding the Bulls, but it's hard, and I understand you already have good players on your team. You shouldn't be trying to just tank, because then their drafting ability ain't that good. Overall, they really got their work cut out for them, AK. They really do on what they want to do with this team, with the offense, with them if they get a pick by Portland trade or by landing the top 4 pick. Just pick a direction, stick to it where you want to go. Don't try to beat a dead horse. Everyone has to evolve. Things derail, your plans derail. That's life. That's everything. Every team does that. I just want to see a better team. I want to see the Bulls actually win. Modern offense. Space the floor. No randomness again this time. That was terrible. They just need to change a lot. They have a lot of work cut out for them. They should keep their, a pulse on everything going on in the league. In terms of, say the Hawks lose. Do they plan on rebuilding? What do they want to do? Do they plan on what do they want? Things like that. Look at different players, have their eyes on what other teams are doing to be able to okay, we could try to bounce and get this guy or bounce and do that. Fred VanVleet, is he going to opt out? Because if he does, we just jump on him like this. It's hard trying to build around Lonzo being hurt, taking up that $20 million cap space. Let's see what they do. I really hope it's something. I don't think I can take another season of this. Thank you guys for watching the video. Thank you so much. I'm probably going to have more to come over the summer. Some of it might not be directly Bulls. I think I might have my roommate Trey 5 on. He's the music that I play in the beginning and the end of the videos. We talk about basketball all the time. I want to be more upbeat here, especially if the off season's going terribly. I don't want to just be depressed, making another sad video, upset about, no one wants to see that. I don't want to just be reporting, just upset about what they do or don't do. I'm probably going to try to come out with what I would want them to do, hypothetically, whether it be rebuild or try to go after somebody. Because that's definitely, the hypotheticals, the trade machine talks, the what ifs is more fun than just being yeah, DeMar might not shoot more threes. We might trade him for a pack of gum. Or, Vooch back, yay, he passes out when he clearly has a mismatch. Or Billy Donovan chewing his gum again, there's gotta be more to this, especially around the league. I love the draft. We're gonna see where Victor goes, things like that. I'm very excited for that. Overall, go Bulls. I'll see you when I see you.